Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 207, and I'm joined this evening by my co-host, Morgan Harfell. Good evening, Morgan.
Good evening, Matt. Good evening.
How are you?
Sir?
How are you?
I'm very, very good, bro. Very, very good. I can't believe it's Thursday already. The week has just
hasn't it
disappeared
raced
before my eyes.
Hasn't it raced up? Yes,
it has. I'm very well. How you doing this week?
Yeah, good. I managed to get out to Berhampore on Sunday, just gone.
Nice.
Which was it was nice. Had a round with some of the old farts and played up and down the hills. Played the new, well, not the new 8, but the old 8, but the permanent 8 now on the eastern side, which was very good. Got introduced to hole. There's a new hole up there, hole 14 or 15, I think it is. I think it's 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 15, and it's you'd love it. It's a North Island par 3. I was joking with the guys earlier on.
What's that? Is that like 130 meters double dog?
No, actually, quite the opposite. On a still day, I'd love to play the hole on a still day, but we were playing in a massive northerly, and when the northerly's in town, this hole becomes a nightmare. Like, I took a 3 on it because I laid up from what must have been inside the circle. Nearly everybody else laid up from inside the circle and took like 4s and 5s. It's a 35-meter hole, right?
Well, that's a South Island par 3.
It's a 35-meter hole. It goes uphill, and the basket's on like the top of a exposed thing, right? So you've got danger all around. You can run it if you want, but if you don't hit metal, and then it fits nicely, it's horrible. And it's just forest and crap all around. So yeah, very nice hole to play. Would love to play it on a still day, but it was certainly very challenging. You know, I was finding myself I have one of those nervy putts that I can't quite drop it in, so I have to actually putt it. But there was a howling northerly in my face, so it was even then. You know, you really got to force it from like 3 meters or whatever. It was just, if my arms were just a little bit longer, then I could have just dropped.
Tell me while we're on this subject, who right now is the king of the farts? King of the old farts. Sorry.
King of the old farts. Well, Jung Ha is normally the one who's kind of setting the pace.
The
general, and then Gary Jarvis obviously plays very well in places as well. And then there's normally kind of I'm kind of scrabbling about for scraps at the bottom of the order. But I did manage to improve my my mini from 9 to 7, which I was pleased about. So
there you go. Well, I managed to get myself through another tournament weekend last weekend with the Queenstown Classic.
You
did. 30th annual helicopter line Queenstown Classic, and everything went really well. Tickety boo, smooth as you like. Yeah, man, it was. I don't want to use the word stressful because I feel like that's a little bit loose of a term on the lead up to it. But I tell you one thing. Obviously, I run a lot of tournaments, right? And Adam and I sort of have our routines, and we almost go into full auto mode when we're running a tournament. We know what we have to do, and things just happen. We know what we need to do, and we just tick things off mentally in our heads, and you know, we get to the start of the tournament, get to the end, and we're done, and it's all works smooth. Not that this was anything dissimilar, but there's so many more moving parts when you're dealing with a club. And it's not that I'd never given it thought anymore, but delegating out jobs to different club members and things, and then having to,
you get a bit angsty because you weren't in control.
Yeah, a little bit, I suppose. I just the not knowing, and I mean, so many people put their hand up and helped and did so much work. I'm so grateful. The place looked amazing. The course was incredible. It was just such a good weekend. But man, just knowing that something's done and having to check and double check was a little unnerving. So all of you guys that are TDing club events out there, my hat is off to you, right? My hat is off.
Absolutely. No, good to hear that it went well. Yep. We're going to catch up on the results of the Queenstown Classic a little bit later on. And also, we're going to be talking to the winner of MP40 at the weekend, which was Mr. Jonny Ferrari, who's going to be joining us shortly. So the show for tonight, we're going to be going through some hot scores to begin with. Then we're going to bring on Jonny. Despite being on the show probably about 3 or 4 times, he's never done Desert Island Disc Golf, so he's going to stick around for that. We're going to go through the results of the Queenstown Classic. Then we're going to have a quick look at Hole 18 at Sprinkle Valley. Don't know if anyone saw this from last weekend. The Open at Austin had one of the courses, I think it was for round 1 and 2. They played Sprinkle Valley, and hole 18 was particularly difficult, particularly in the FPO division. We're going to be breaking that down, having a look at the hole, and because I think it's got some interesting talking points that could apply to tournaments that are run here. So Brett's putting that's an interesting one, right? Well, we're going to be asking that question, right? Do you think it's a good hole or not? Do you want to see more of them or not? I've got some opposing views on this, which I'll share a bit later on. Then we're going to go through tipping. The Seafarer and Makaripi are both taking place this weekend, and they're both wrapping up season 1 of Sweet Chain Tipping, which comes to a head this weekend. Steve Lawson has a stupidly big lead over me, so his lead is like I'm on just under 400,000. He's on just over 1 million. I say just over 1 million. He's more over. Sorry,
I was going to say, and here was me last week going, you know what? With 1,700 coins, which you're right, I did have. I just hadn't claimed them. So tip, make sure you claim your coins. I thought I had 10 coins. I thought with my 1,723 coins, if I caught the win that I was aiming for, I'd have 140,000. I would shit the bed. And then this week I would pounce and I'd just take the whole thing down. Didn't work out.
No. Well, so Steve Lawson is so far ahead, and he has more coins over 1 million than the third place, which is producer Tom, has in. He is so far ahead of everybody else it's not doesn't mean he's not catchable, because obviously anything can happen. And if a complete outsider wins one of the divisions and somebody bets on it, then it could still happen. But he is in the driving seat, and we've got a fantastic prize that will be heading to the winner of season 1 of Sweet Chain Tipping. Disco Fever have come to the party and have made a disc for us, which will sit on the mantelpiece of whoever the eventual winner is. We'll go through a little bit more of that.
Disc out.
Absolutely, it looks fantastic. A little bit later on, we'll go through some of the tipping on for the Seafarer and Makaripi, which is being played this weekend. We've got some disc duel, and then we'll go through power rankings, and then that more or less wraps up your Thursday night disc golf entertainment. So Morgan, hot scores, take us through the South.
Righty McTighty. I'm not going to lie, I expected to open these hot scores and see goddamn Jonny Ferrari's name just making his name even known while he's not quite on the show yet. But this week, down in Queen's Park with an 11 under par, we have the one, the only Barry Van Beek. Troy Broad has the keys at Chingford Park with a 6 under par. Then we go over to Brockville. It sees Sean Aitken 5 down. Liam over at Flight Park. Oh, yes, Flight Park. 4 over par. Okay, 4 over par. We're going to need to see some better scores than that this week. To be fair, we did have all of the baskets of the Queenstown Classic for the last week. So moving right along to the Queenstown Gardens, where the Classic was held, we got Matty Allsop with a 12 under par. Mundo McDisc, of course, back at it at Lismore with 14 down. Over to Jelly Park, and we have, Glenn Stricky. Also 11 under par, and then we see Jaden Watkinson with an 11 down at Bottle Lake. Warren Park still up in Christchurch sees Jamie at 10 under par, and then Smallbone Reserve sees a, holy Moses, 19 under par by KBG. Josh Mason gets it done at Queen's Park Reserve with a 5 under par. Darian and Matthew Franks with an 8 under par at Taylor River. And rounding out the north of the south with a 14 under par, Mr. Alex Batten. Let's head up to the north.
In the North Island, we start at Berhampore, and it's that man, Jung Ha, who hits a 10 under par at Berhampore in the hills of Wellington. Across the water, Koi Koi. John Gibbs goes round at 4 under par. Up to Harcourt Park, Gary Jarvis hits 6 under par in Upper Hutt, and across to Flaxmere, Leon Krellin's at it again, 8 under par around the Hastings course. Over to Spa Park Black, Steve Lawson hits 7 under on the black layout, and up to Scion Tree Nursery, Taylor takes the hot score of an 8 under par. Sam Hitchcock does business at Henderson with a 9 under par, and Quinn Cheeseman hits Wood Hill for a 5 under par. Rosedale, Owen Mandisoza and Aaron hit 5 under par, and that rounds out the hot scores for New Zealand for this week. So, congratulations to anybody who got onto the hot scores list this week. And just a quick note to say, please like and subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, then please consider doing so. It's the button is just down there, and we edge ever closer to 500. We're going to have a massive giveaway when we get to 500 subscribers. It's going to be huge. So help us get there by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. Liking the video and adding a comment also help push us up in front of more people who might not otherwise be as subscribed. So please help us out and drop a like if you like what we do.
Yes, 449 subscribers at the moment, Matt. Just one away from that elusive 450, and then on our way in the upward trajectory to 500 subscribers.
Indeed. Right, now we're going to bring on our guest for this evening. He won MP40 on a playoff at the weekend at the Queenstown Classic. So good evening to a friend of the show, very much friend of the show, Jonny Ferrari. Good evening.
How you going?
God damn.
Very good. So for the Sweet Chain Live historians that are watching, Jonny, you were on episode 2 of Sweet Chain Live.
Were you really?
Yeah, do you remember that? Shit. He was on episode 2 along with Bray Marsden talking about the Southern Smash.
That was when our internet dropped out.
Yeah, you were you were out in the cave.
Yeah.
And I was on my kitchen table in my old house, so that goes to show where we've moved to. But you're back, not quite 205 episodes later. There have been other instances when you've been here, but how have you been?
Not too bad, just ticking away. Haven't been playing a lot of golf actually, even before I played in the weekend just been, so just taking a wee step back. But yeah, it's been good. Apart from that, yeah.
But took the win out of the Classic this weekend, or weekend just gone.
Yeah, been one I've wanted to try and get since I started, because Queenstown Gardens is where I started. My brother lives up there, so that's where I got introduced to disc golf and fell in love with it. And yeah, seen old Hemi around there playing, so it was pretty cool to actually come and win that one there, which I was quite familiar with the course, but obviously with the changes made it a bit different. So yeah, it was wrecked.
I actually can't remember if you and I met at the Classic or Tucker Beach Rush for the first time. I'm going to have to go back and look at some event statistics to figure that one out. Maybe we bring in the stats team for that one.
I got a feeling it's Tucker's.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I just have this vivid memory of walking across where hole 3 this weekend was with you. But then also, I think you're right. I think it was Tucker's. So,
yeah.
Right. Not to digress.
So, I mean, after the first 2 rounds,
yeah,
you were leading the tournament. Is that right?
Yeah.
With a 62 and a 57? Oh, maybe tied with Kyle.
I was tied with Kyle,
so, yeah. So that must have felt pretty good. I mean, so 14 under par gets you 1,000 rated. But you're still, at that point, after one day, only got a 3-shot lead in your division.
That's it. It's like pretty tight there in my division. Like it was pretty ding dong between me, Hemi, and Jay, all there right through. And knowing that we've got another whole day, you like think, it's quite a, you're thinking about that a wee bit and going, there's still another day of golf here and 2 rounds. Anything can change from morning to afternoon. It's an 88 hole game.
Well, you're pretty experienced. You've been around the block for a bit and played a few tournaments across a wide variety of layouts. This particular layout is very focused on getting birdies, very focused on scoring. Yeah. And so how do you prepare, like going into a second day or even indeed going into the first day, knowing that you have to be hitting high double digits, the 15s, 16s downs, in order to, or at least over 10 down, in order to be kind of competitive. I mean, it's just putting pressure on every tee shot, isn't it? I mean,
it is. Like, I mainly, before I even get there, I'm just thinking about the weather and what that's going to do, because down around that bit of the gardens or anywhere it can change a fair bit, but we're pretty lucky with quite calm weather, which really helped my game. It was just like trying to put placement shots to get it close. Really, is like just try and get it to where you're comfortable with and putting, to make sure that you had the best chance, because someone behind you is literally either make or break going to get there as well. So it was like the pressure did feel like it was on the whole time. Like it was.
Yeah.
And it's in the back of your mind going, oh, they got the birdie there, and I left one behind there, and I had to make a few big putts even just to stay up with skin birdies at some point. So it was pretty crazy. So yeah, it was interesting. It's real mind test really too. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, 88 holes when pretty much every hole is you're going for the birdie, right? There's very few holes that you're kind of and there a lot of them are par threes as well. So the tee shot is the one that matters. You can't have an average shot off the tee and then make it up with a good scramble or a good second shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it before, Matt. That course it's basically a birdie race at the Queenstown Gardens, and the way we designed the course this year with our bit of a past, present, future theme is, I would say, at least 75% of the course is par threes, and you need to be getting within putting on every single one of those if you want to be in contention. And the other ones where the par fours are out there, if you go over par, and that can happen very easily on the way that I designed the course, you can drop with 3 spaces depending on how many people are in your division in a matter of one or two holes. It can happen really, really quickly. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it did happen to me, I think, in one of those final rounds. Like, I actually led for quite a lot, but then I made a few mistakes and found myself 2 behind with like a couple of holes to play, and I was like, oh, wow. And that pressure weighed on you, because I knew just how tight the game was between him and myself, that it was going to be a battle, and he'd have to make I have to get the birdies, and he has to make a mistake, or something's got to have changed. So.
Is that what happened on your guys' last hole? Is that
last
correct?
2 holes?
Yeah, last 2 holes.
Birdie, yeah.
And he went par. Is that right?
Had me by 2 shots, I think, with the last 2 holes, and he must have clipped a tree early on that hole 3.
Yeah.
And I made the putt, put it close, and then the next one was the last hole, and basically he had me by 1, so, and I had the tee, so I put it really close, which was quite fortunate, and then Hemi just underpowered it slightly and got clipped into the garden bed, and then he had to lay up, and then we tied up. So it was just like.
So you guys came back to HQ, and you kind of looked at me, and you were like, "What now?" You guys are like, "What's now? Where are we going?" And I was like, "Let's let everyone else finish on the course so we can get back into it." And then we're going to proceed to regular course hole 1, which is the regular hole, but it has a raised basket. And I remember walking over to the tee with you, and I was like, you got this, bro. And you went, oh man, Hemi's so good on that second hole. That was what you said to me. He's so good on that second hole. No. But then you proceeded to go pin high right. If anyone here knows current hole, normal hole 1 on the guns, you went right-hand side into the bush. And then what are you looking at from down there, Jonny?
Oh, just a wee hole out of the window, but I'm not scared of a high basket, knowing that I'm renowned for having one of the biggest ones in the country. Usually I put it on the course every now and then.
Yeah, I joked about that when we put them out. I was like, it's nearly as big as Johnny's basket.
Yeah, I felt that high from down there, though.
Yeah, but you were down the slope, putting out of a bush in a pretty awkward stance, and you just put it on hyzer, drained it straight in the heart of the chains. Hemi was tapping in, and then you went to hole 2. Just walk us through hole 2 if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I was like, Hemi was off the tee. We switched tees, obviously, the way we're playing, going 1 for 1. And I was like, knew what he was throwing, because I knew the disc he'd had out and throw in the last round. And unfortunately, he missed left of the big tree that's on the big slope up there, if anyone that's played it before. And didn't
Mando,
quite
right? Yep.
Missed Mando, missed Mando left side. So I just wanted to put it up close, or just where I could have a throw-up pitch up, obviously. And then you had to make the drop zone putt, which is down the slope, which is quite a decent putt, pretty difficult to make. You'd really have to give it a good shot. And it fortunately sat on the hill, because anyone else that knows that can roll all the way down to the lake on that whole mulch so easily.
Yep.
And so Hemi proceeded to take the drop zone part. Didn't quite make it. Gave it a good crack. And actually, I was just wanting to lay up when I took my putt, which was I wanted to make it sit up on the hill and just make sure that it was safe. But it went in for some weird reason. I don't know if I got a wind lift or something, but I was more focusing on it, trying to sit flat and not roll away.
Yeah, there was like no wind, bro. You just sent that straight into the chain in front of an entire field gallery, right? In front of like basically 100 people, and some other spectators. So that was a pretty special way to finish the tournament for you.
Yeah, it was cool. I was pretty wrapped, but blown away that it went in. So yeah.
Happy days. There's your first big win at the Queenstown Gardens.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yep. Would have been nice to take Mikey. Mikey's unstoppable there, but
he is unstoppable.
Hats off to him. I got within 7, I think, and I had him a wee bit overall earlier, but yeah, he's a machine.
Yeah. When he gets his head down and he just gets into that zone. I mean, he shot 17 under both rounds on Sunday. Which
I know,
that's
awesome.
That's wild, especially like that course to get 17 down there. It's monumental. It's huge.
Yeah, and tournament conditions too, which is not easy.
Matt,
so you've got the Seafarer this weekend.
Yeah, I've never played up in that event. I've only really played the one that had the Scalpel, the Heislander. So I'm really looking forward to it, going and seeing it, and being on a golf course and. It should be a lot of fun. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
And then you mentioned before that you took a bit of a step back. Are you intending to play more events as the rest of the year kind of goes, or will this year be a bit quieter?
I tend not to play as much through the winter just because I don't really favour it too much, even though I'm from Southland. I prefer warmer golf, obviously, but I will try and make the events I can. Like, my life's taken a bit of change, so I've just done with family and everything. So I just fitting it in with work and focusing on that side of things a bit more, but definitely trying to get out to all the events I can when I can. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nice one.
So Seafarer this weekend, it's as you said, it's a new event, but you've got you're up against Jay again.
Yeah.
Jay, Jeremy Hills, Ephraim Russell, and Tom McKay.
Yeah.
It's Tom McKay who's probably going to give you the biggest challenge. Would you suggest?
Absolutely. Yeah, me and Tom always have a good battle. Even when he was down for my event, it was pretty close there for a while too. So yeah, I always enjoy that with those guys. And Jay, he's been playing so smooth. Yeah.
And with your recent win, you jumped up 5 spots to 18th in the power rankings. So going up against Tom McKay, who's 12th. So it's going to be it could be quite a ding dong in MP40 this weekend for anybody who's watching or tipping on it.
I hope it is.
I do just want to touch on something you said before. Is Jay is playing incredible golf right now, right? It's just so consistent. Yeah. And it's so close to breaking that threshold of being great.
Yeah. I've watched him playing obviously with him through in other tournaments, and he's just consistently getting better. His form's become smoother, and he's thrown farther. It's real cool to watch, actually.
Yeah, totally. He's he plays at a lot of the events that I run, and that's something that's really, really noticeable every single time he shows up. Is just the level and the consistency that he's been having. So yeah, definitely one to watch out for, and you'll have some good battles with him down the next few years.
Yeah, he's got his hands on one of those yellow things that Levi's thrown, and he's thrown it well too. So yeah.
I've seen these things. Have you got a yellow Takapu in your bag? Does that make the bag?
No, I can't. I'm sponsored by Innova, so I throw solely Innova. But I'm actually bidding on one online that Jack Mappy's got at the moment. So
is that just to get one off of the shelves and out of someone else's hands?
Yeah, that's right. Just to keep it out of circulation.
Pretty much.
He's got 17 bloody mint peckers. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
No.
So it's going to be quite a different challenge this weekend. At Seafarer then. Morgan, is that an event you've played?
It's not an event I've played. Dunedin, although it sounds like it's close, is 4 hours each way. It's It is a bit of a trek for us here in Queenstown. So I think the last tournament I played down there was Islander, and I tell you right now, if they brought that back to the Waiora Scout camp, I would be straight back in.
There is talks of it.
I did hear that. Yep.
Talks of it, yeah.
Do you know what? That's an event I've played as well. And the first time one of the first times I've ever met you, Morgan, was at that at Heisender in 2021, I think it was.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about that last week as well, actually.
We were on the same card. As for one of the rounds, which was bizarre. But anyway, right. What are we doing? You this year, if I've got this right, you took a bit of a step back from the organising of Southern Smash.
Yeah, I actually stepped back from that. Like each year, pretty big stress organising an event with of what we've been doing, and I spent a lot of time and hours even just in disc golf and course stuff in general. So it was really nice to allow and ask if, and even Nicola noticed it in me the year before and said something to me, and I was like, I would really like to actually let you guys have a go at it and do whatever you like, like just make it your own. So it was really nice to see and have that break from it for this year. And I think they did really good. So I was really stoked to take a step back from that, because it takes a lot of time and effort and getting into it. I can't stress that enough, for anyone that's involved in these things.
Sounds like you would want to be more involved in future years.
Absolutely, yeah, I'll be back. I'll definitely be back to help.
Yeah.
Not stepping away altogether, just for the year to have a break, really. So it was good. Yeah.
It's always situational why people do it, but I think it is a really positive thing to do, especially when you've been around quite a while. I mean, well enough that I did it as well.
Yeah.
And not that it helped my disc golf game, but it definitely made me appreciate the sport and the people and everything within that when I came back.
Yeah, and I wasn't out of reach either for them too. I said, if you got any questions you want to ask, just sing out, like, please do, because that's what I can still help out in that aspect. And I think they did a really good job, and it's great for everyone else to learn and see what goes on and involved in it.
Yeah,
I had a lot of help with Bray and Calvin and that in the time, and there was.
I was just about to say it was pretty much a whole different crew running it this year. Bray sort of took a bit of a step back from it as well.
But they involved
and
like
Calvin.
Club members and stuff too. That they got involved big time, which was really awesome to see.
Yep.
Like and it was because they had a group chat going, and I could sort of see still what was going on and just offer advice and bits and pieces, and it was awesome. Like I was really proud of them. So yeah.
You guys down there have got one of, in my opinion, and I don't know all of them, but one of the best clubs in the country, especially with the people that are down there. You guys have got such a strong community, disc golf community.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and the Southern Smash is one of those tournaments which, if you haven't played it, you really ought to try and play it. Invercargill is relatively easy to get to, and once you're in Invercargill, like, it's very easy to get around, and it's small enough to, you can almost walk there from the airport. But like it's one of those tournaments. Do you think you'll ever see the Southern Smash in the near future host a major in New Zealand?
It has been talked about with the current committee,
it has done several times, but I'm asking for the future.
Yeah, probably I would like to. Yeah, I think we will. Yeah,
because it was nationals, not this year, not last year, but the year before. 2023. So not just the one just gone, or the year before, but the year before that, 2023. And that was a fantastic tournament. I really enjoyed that one. That was real good fun. And I'd love to see it go. I'd love to see South Island champs or nationals go back to go back to Invercargill, even though it's relatively recent, I guess. That it was there.
It's an interesting.
You had South Island champs in 22, I think.
It's an interesting topic that of places, South Islands, North Islands majors basically can go, because we've touched on the subject plenty of times, but just the actual places that have the capability to host is not large, right?
No.
I mean, we have so many events in South Island, especially that 80% of those couldn't host a major. And I say that with respect. It's the courses and it's everything. It's everything. There probably is only 4 or 5 places that could potentially do it currently.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. It's a small pool, of which Invercargill fits in one of them. So yeah, absolutely. Look, I'd love to see another major go down there, because I'd love to get back to Invercargill. I think it's a lovely place, even if you're not going to play disc golf. Right. Let's move on, because Jonny, you've been on the show quite a few times. We've talked about the last episode 149 was the last time.
Yeah.
That you were on the episode. Thank you, producer Tom, for digging out that stat, which was about a year ago. But you've never done Desert Island disc golf.
No.
So we're gonna fix that tonight. We're going to fix that tonight. Obviously, it didn't exist in episode 2 when you were on, so we were unable to do it there. But tonight we'll be doing it. So here is the premise for anybody who's not encountered this section of the show before. The premise is that Jonny is stranded on a desert island. There is a disc golf course on this desert island, fortunately. And he has been stranded with 3 of his favorite discs and 3 of his favorite card mates. Now, his card mates can be alive or dead. They can be real people or fancy characters. They can be seasoned pros or people he knows. So, Jonny, talk us through your discs first of all.
All right.
What are you taking to your desert island, and why? And if you've got them there, then even so much the better. But don't worry if they're not sort of within arm's reach.
I do. I have some here. So I'd probably take a destroyer, of course, in case it was windy on that island. So I'd take one of these. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is that a flippy destroyer? Obviously not. If you're taking it for the wind, it's a.
No, she's a beefy one.
She's a beefy one.
Yeah.
How do you? So you're an Innova sponsored player.
Yeah.
When you get a bunch of new discs through the post, which presumably they, from time to time, they send you a bunch of stuff. So my first question is: do you ask for particular stuff, or do they just send you like a mystery box?
No, we're very lucky, like in the fact that we can pretty much choose what weight, color, stamp.
So you know what you're getting more or less before
pretty much. Pretty much.
So. Right. If you said, I could really do with, I really wanted to up my field work and really want to a little smirk there. Is that because you don't do it, or you do?
I do a little bit, not as often as I would like.
Okay, so you write to Innova and you say, I could really do with some destroyers, so I can practice my field work a little bit more. So they send you a box of destroyers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you know, taking the destroyer out of the box, whether it's going to be a flippy destroyer, and ignoring the plastic type and the stamp and the run, which might give you clues? Can you tell out the box, if you were blindfold, for example, whether it would be a flippy destroyer or a stable destroyer? The reason I ask is it's a disc that can do quite a lot, right, at different stages of their life, and you've got different runs which come out very differently from each other. So, I mean,
if I was blindfolding and felt it, maybe then potentially. Like it's not always easy, and I have thrown plastics that have look like they would be beefy and aren't, and the opposite. Mm-hmm. So it's really quite interesting, and I do believe like maybe run to run does make a difference in whether it's flat or domey or however run comes out, because obviously the die plates and that get worn over time and things like that, So it's a very hard one to really, but you kind of get a general sense with feeling it and how stiff it is. I think that what it's going to be like. So
okay.
and
that's one of your more
one of the more.
That's one of your more beefier ones, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. What else are you taking?
So I would probably take, and a lot of people know that I love to throw a rat. That's my mid-range. This thing is point and shoot. Love it. Will go everywhere with me. I've got multiples. So
lovely.
Yeah. Especially the
old. Is that like a speed run. two or three, something like that?
Was a 4. It's a 4.
5.
2,
okay. It's nearly a 5, right?
Well, yeah, it probably is all right at a 4. Just for well, it could be a 5, but yeah, 4203. But I love this thing for point and shoot, and it's just such a good disc. Stephen Reedy will know all about it.
Excellent. Yeah. And what else? What else?
And I'll probably take a putter, obviously. So I've got a Firefly. This one's super beat. This is when I got my first order of Innova discs and had to change putter, which I found pretty difficult at the start because I used to putt with Merities from Latitude, and finding something that was the right depth for me was quite interesting. But yeah, Firefly, it's just such a great throwing putter for me now. It's basically close to a P2, really. So that's my 3 discs.
Fantastic. And who are you taking with you? Who's on your who's
well, that's a pretty difficult one, but the fellow there, Mr. Morgan, he would definitely be coming on a side quest with me to Desert Island.
There he is. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, we've been around the world together already, a couple of places, so why not a desert island?
Another one. Another desert island.
Another one. And I haven't really thought too much about who else, but I think maybe Jeremy Colin, because when we met him in Japan, he was just such a good dude to hang out with, and I think he'd be a lot of fun. And everyone hears his banter, and he's always seems very happy and a real good dude. And I got on pretty well with him. And I haven't really thought of a third. Potentially just take my girlfriend just because. But
fair enough.
You're still allowed to go.
Can't live on desert island without your partner, so that would be pretty good. Yeah, so that'd be pretty cool for me.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Now we're gonna race into the Sweet Chain Safari, which is 18 questions. The first 9 of the family-friendly front 9. Same 9 questions to every guest every week. And then the Safari back 9, which takes a form of this or that, different questions each week. And so I'll go through the family-friendly front 9. Are you ready?
Yeah, for it.
Okay, number 1. What's your name?
Jonny Ferrari.
Where were you born?
Invercargill.
Where do you live now?
Still in Invercargill.
What's your PDGA number?
91951.
How many years have you been playing?
Probably about 12 or 13.
Your favourite disc?
I'd have to be a rat.
Your favourite course?
I'd have to just say my home course, just the one we put in. So, yep.
Fantastic. Your favourite MPO player?
Nate Sexton.
Your favourite FPO player?
I think probably still Page Pierce for me.
Fantastic. Excellent. Morgan, take us through the back 9.
Righto, brother. I know the answer to this first question, but the public may not. And it's a real simple one. It's just tea or coffee.
Oh, coffee all day.
Bonus answer for that one. How many coffees in one day?
Oh, plenty.
Perfect. The Innova Rat. Okay, get rid of one. The Innova Rat or your black Katana.
Katana's already retired, believe it or not. So
oh, no.
Yeah,
right.
Got a bit flippy.
Formula One or V8 supercars?
V8 supercars.
Ford or Holden?
Holden for sure.
Car or scooter mission?
Oh, scooter mission.
Okay, yeah, boy. Thailand or Japan?
That was going to be, I knew that was going to come up, but I think Japan.
Yep. Back to Thailand though, Lamai or Mae Nam?
Oh, Lamai.
Lamai, nice. Hang out. Would you prefer to hang out at home or go on a side quest?
Oh, side quest for sure.
Yeah, and your 18th hole is lay up for the easy win or putt for glory.
I'll putt for glory. Let's go. Yeah.
And yes, he did do it, ladies and gentlemen. He won the MP40 division of the 30th annual Helicopter Line Queenstown Classic. That is goddamn Jonny Ferrari.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jonny, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been very good fun, and congratulations on your win on the weekend.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, best of luck for the Seafarer this weekend as well.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, brother.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
Ciao. There we go. So staying on the Queenstown Classic, let's have a look at the results that we had from the weekend. So in MPO, Mikey U wins quite comfortably in the end by 10 strokes. It wasn't entirely comfortable, though. It really was the final round that put the distance between him and Ben Willick. He shot 2 10-20 rated rounds on Sunday.
10-27, 10-21. Huge.
Which is incredible. Both 17 under par, which is ludicrous. So congratulations to him. Generations Jin Cater coming in third place there.
Yeah, we've got Generation on the second and third counter right there. It's the boys representing well. So yeah, shout out to those guys. And then down in fourth place, Dave Mora out of Hawaii. He was leading MPO after day one. It's quite funny. He's a good mate of mine, and we went and had a beer after day one on the Saturday. We popped into altitude, had a beer, and he said to me, he goes, "Mikey's beatable." And I just went, "Oh man, yes he is, but God, don't count your chickens before they hatch, brother." I knew how Mikey would have looked at day one, and I knew how he was going to come into day two, man, like with a fire lit under his backside. But yeah, Dave, interestingly, Dave got into first place after day one in MPO, and he wasn't happy with his putter. He said to me, he goes, "I'm going to change my putter for tomorrow. I'm just not confident with it." I'm like, "Bro, you're in first place. Just don't change anything." It's like stressing me out. But yeah, the boys turned it on day two.
Interestingly, it wasn't. I mean, if he'd maintained the pace that he was at, then it wouldn't have been enough. Yeah, I mean, Mikey really did just turn the heat up on day two. In FPO, Hayley Flintoff gets the win by one shot over Alison Tweedy, and this was a battle that went back and forth.
Yeah, I'd love to touch on this. I'd love to touch on this going into the last round, if you don't mind. At the end of the last round, right? So I'm sitting at HQ. I DNF'd after round 3, so I could go and set up prize giving, which took freaking ages, almost the whole round. But I'm sitting there, and the girl's second to last hole is just off to my right, and I'm watching scores, and I didn't really realize where they were, but they're only like...
What number was their second last hole?
So they're on hole 1 of the course, which you won't know. It's where normal hole 18 is, but it plays up the roadside, not to the normal basket. Okay, so it's probably like 65 meters, low ceiling, OB right, Mando on the left, play to the right. So you're forced down a gap. And I just hear these huge ladies, not huge ladies, but these huge screams from the ladies, just wah, wah, going mental. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And it took me until the scores updated to go, oh my gosh, Alison's just aced. And there was a 2-stroke difference going into that hole. And I heard later on that Hayley didn't have the easiest putt, but she made the birdie putt. So that kept her in within one. And she managed to hold that on the final hole under all that stress of, just being aced on. And the second hole is relatively easy, but also really easy to get yourself in trouble. There's a lot of ways to get in trouble on that hole if you don't shoot a smooth tee shot. So experience, it was something, I can't remember what part of the conversation it was before, but you were talking about experience to Jonny. And Hayley's 100% taken the win off of the back of the experience she's had in the last 10 plus years of competing on the New Zealand tour and internationally, just being able to hold the composure to, play a 60 meter, little turning shot to get her under the basket to tap in for the win. But man, hats off to Alison for putting that pressure on, man. Getting an ace on that hole is just insane in that circumstance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, Alison's played at above her rating for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
And put in some really good golf. I think we were sort of expecting Haley to Alison to perhaps edge this one, given that that's been the kind of the tide, if you like, over the last few events. But no, Haley managing to pip this one. MP40, Jonny Ferrari takes the win on a playoff over Hemi. We just heard about that. Jay Pookie in third place. In MA1, Kyle Barringer gets the win here ahead of Stefano Macchi, which now, Morgan, last week you were talking about Stefano being a bit of a dark horse, and he turned out to be exactly that.
Yeah, totally. He's a bit of a garden specialist, man. But Kyle has been on a tear. I think he hasn't lost an MA1 at Queenstown tournament since this time last year. He's won everything in this neck of the woods. He's on a burner. So yeah, shout out Kyle at Team Generation.
Jordan McAnally takes the other podium spot in MA1. FA1, Rachida Torre wins over Nikki Day. In MA40, Jason Mark takes the win here by a stroke over Stu Gilchrist. Bit of an upset.
Jason's a really good player, man, and he took that coming down the stretch on the last couple of holes. Like, there is storylines written all over this tournament. It's all sort of coming back to me as we're scrolling down through the divisions here. It's pretty awesome.
Sean Anthony in third place. In FA40, Alexa McDonald wins over Amy Anthony, and it's Akira Kudo who wins comfortably in MA50.
Didn't Akira just crush it, right?
Absolutely, by 17 or so strokes.
Yeah, what an incredible performance there across those guys that are just behind him, you know.
Debbie Mills wins in FA50 by 12 shots over Kathleen Hudson. Steve McVicker takes the honours in MA60, and in MA2, Hanlin Johnston wins by 6 shots over Mikey Dahlstrom and Wellington's KJ Carrick in third.
Yeah, Mikey was a bit gutted, actually. He was, if you see the last round scores, he shot a 71 against 62 for Hanlon. Mikey was leading going into that last round, and he, I think he might have got in his own head a little bit, but he'll be back.
Yeah. Connor Rance takes out the win in MJ15. Connor's competing in the Seafarer this weekend, and we'll see. We've got a little bit more on that a little bit later on. And Haley Rance manages to complete the Rance double in FJ15. Right. So now, Morgan,
yes.
We're going to move on to hole design. Now, we had there was an event played in the US recently. Last weekend, in fact, at the Open Austin, which featured as for rounds 1 or 2 at the Sprinkle Valley course, hole 18, which was a 780-foot for the ladies par 5. And it had kind of 3 areas, if you like. We're going to try and put the map up on screen. I think we can put it up on screen now. So there's 2 maps here, and the first map is the one on the left is last year's hole, and the one on the right is this year's hole. And the main difference here being that you don't have the inbounds section on the way up to the hole on up to the edge of the basket. So once you're back of once you're on the main fairway, you've then got to throw over OB, and the rules down the bottom there state that the disc must pass in the inbounds airspace of that little green area surrounding the basket in order to
I hate that.
Have crossed inbounds and therefore be allowed to take your disc from either wherever it lands or wherever it subsequently goes out of bounds, right? And there's no drop zone for those, right? Unless it comes into contact.
I'm really sorry, Matt. I'm just getting a work phone call.
No, go for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick look at something which happened over the weekend, which was this. This is producer Tom's busy sorting out some stuff on the screen there. As you can see, this is from this is off YouTube, but it's a coverage of hole 18. And we're seeing here Kristen Tatar, the best ladies disc golfer to have played the game, taking I think it's a 10. I think on this particular hole. Now, hopefully you can hear this. I can't actually hear the audio, but I feel that you can. So this is on the approach. You can see where the steps start there. That's where the OB begins, and she needs to throw. So the first throw was high release and kind of out the way. But in a minute, you'll see the green that she has to fly over the airspace of the inbounds airspace. In order for it to count as being inbounds. Now, we got ads. Lovely. Whilst the ads are on, chat, what do you think of these kind of holes where you have these islands and you've got a kind of island hop to get there? We saw a few of these at Nationals. They had a few of these kind of island greens where you had to kind of get there. All of them had drop zones though, so if you missed it, or it was hazard on the approach, so you didn't go out of bounds. You just took the penalty shot for falling short or whatever. So, chat, what do you think? I'd like to know. Would you like to see more of these holes or fewer of these holes? Put a thumbs up or the word up or the letter U if you want to see more, and put a down thumbs down. That makes sense. If you want to see fewer. I don't know. Hopefully they can hear me at the same time as watching this. Excellent. Okay, right. So there's several shots. Kristen takes this shot, which doesn't cross over the inbounds area. I think this is quite difficult to tell, actually. Now the spotter might have may have had a different view than the one that we're seeing here, but it does look like. I mean, that one looked like it went over, but it's called not. And and this is just a brutal hole. Would you like to see more of these holes? Now, people did birdie this hole, right? If you managed to, from where Kristen was, get it up onto the green from there, then yeah. So yeah. I mean, what do you think? Do we want to see more of these holes? There was some conversation about whether they're actually good or not, and I had this conversation with some of the old farts on Sunday, just gone. And when Morgan gets back, I'd like to see his views. But I've got a little bit of a dilemma here because there's two things at play. I think on the one hand, you've got a situation where people are saying we want to see some entertaining disc golf, and you're trying to put on a show, you're trying to put on an entertainment show for people, and seeing people blow up on holes is quite entertaining, right? And seeing that happen, not all the time. You obviously want to see very good disc golf, but you also want that counteracted with seeing some things which you don't expect to happen at the same time. And then there's the view of, yeah, but what about score separation? Is this not a really good hole because you're going to get a huge amount of score separation? And the issue that I've got with this is that the winning scores in this tournament were a couple of strokes. And so, here's Morgan. He's coming back, so I'm gonna put this to him when he's got his
apologies for that.
Morgan, you know the hole we're talking about. So talk us through your views. Do you think you'd like to see more of these kind of holes or fewer of these kind of holes? Because I've got a bit of I'm going to use the word dichotomy.
Right. So like
quite a nice word, which I'll talk about.
We spoke a little bit about it in the green room, right? And I think this isn't the case, which I'm about to talk about, but PDGA just needs to make their bloody mind up, right? Because it was legal, and then it wasn't legal. And I know that for fact because I tried to get one of those holes put in after they changed, and I didn't realize they'd changed the rule on it, and now they seem to have gone back to that ruling to allow it. They and there's I'm not going to read through them, but there's a few comments in the chat about this clearly right now, and I don't know. I'm neither here nor there on the matter. I just want to know what's legal and what's not, and for them to make it really freaking clear for everyone, especially people that are running tournaments, right? Because I've seen situations where you've got the island hole and then they've just put a 1 meter strip between the islands. So now you don't have an island. You've got one consistent fairway that goes boom, 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 boom.
But you can't realistically
exactly. But it's legal because it's one way rather than islands. So I just want to know what these are and have that made really clear to us that are running tournaments, because man, the rules change for people that don't know, right? So you can go and do your PDGA rules exam, and it gives you 20 or whatever 25 questions that you go through. They're just random questions that they've made up with different storylines and yada yada for your test.
It's valid for 3 years, isn't it?
But they change rules every year. Every 12 months they change years. They make big changes, but throughout the year they actually change the wording of rules as well throughout the season. So even if you've got your certification, right, you need to be reading the rules every couple of weeks to make sure that you know what you're talking about and that you're not doing something illegal within your tournament. So I don't know. I don't really appreciate how they do the rulings. They need to stick with what they have and make it really clear to everyone once a year or once every 6 months even would be fine. That's my stance.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a bit of one of the points I want to make here is, I think Ben touches on it, may even make it for me. Don't love having a hole which entirely decides round outcome. Maybe if the rest of the course is similarly hard, then it's good. For one hard hole, you can get lucky and take massive benefits. So, so we've bleated on this podcast quite a bit about score separation and how important it is, and how, what the job of a tournament director is to create a tournament and a layout of holes that ultimately give rise to a winner, right? And allows the tournament, allows people through seeing the results of this tournament to say, and to be able to discern that this is the best disc golfer. Now, tournament directors do this in a number of different ways. Ideally, in a sort of perfect world, there would be a balanced set of skill tests that you want to do of both all the different types of strokes that you typically see, and perhaps some that required some inventiveness, across a varying levels of distances, with varying difficulties of putts and green difficulty, in order to be able to go, well, we tested everybody across all of the different things, so and this person came out the top, so therefore they're the best disc golfer. And that's the job of a tournament director, right? Is to put a test together whereby at the end you can say this person is the best disc golfer. Now, in order to do that, you need to have score separation. Now, where you have holes where and we've played tournaments, we've all played tournaments here, and even played courses where, like, the whole card or the whole division seems to take a par. No one is really good enough to birdie it, and it could be MA40, it could be in MPO, it could be any division. Loads of people will take the pars, but very few people will birdie, and very few people will bogey or do worse. It's quite an easy hole to par, but very difficult to birdie, right? Those are the kind of almost worse kind of holes, right? You don't want a lot of those holes playing a part, because they don't provide you that level of score separation. On the other hand, having one hole that could potentially give you, I don't know, in this case, I think one of the highest scores was an 11. I think Christian took an 11, and people were birding it, so they were taking a 4. Having one hole that can give you 7 shots of score separation, right, means that the score separation that you worked so hard for to achieve in the other 17 holes is diluted by this one hole that kind of dominates, right?
Now, it almost doesn't go with the flow of the course, right? It's not a similar design to the course. They've thrown a course from Monkey's Island into Princess Peak.
Yeah. Now, Mikey's talking about how the way that you should play it, and that's fair enough. But I mean, people are still going to play it kind of differently, and this is about hole design, not the way in which people would necessarily go about it. And so I think that this kind of hole, and I'm going to look at this from an entertainment perspective, I think is great for creating drama and creating entertainment and creating, especially in sports, right? Especially in sports, the best moments in sport, in my view, aren't necessarily when someone does something very good. and aren't necessarily when someone does something very bad. It's when people do things you don't expect them to, right? Whether that's good or bad. You see things you don't expect, right? And that could be either things that are very, very good or things that are very, very bad, or somewhere in between. And so from an entertainment perspective, I'd love to see a few more of these holes. I'd actually like to see more of them in New Zealand. I'd like to see them be kind of tried out to see what it would do. And yeah, that's kind of my view on it. Although I think if you're going to do it, it takes a brave tournament director to put it into like a major, for example. You need to temper it with the appropriate rest of the course, right?
That's exactly my thought, right?
If the rest of the course has got some big kind of birdie to double bogey holes, we saw plenty of those at Nationals, for example, then I think it's fine to have also this hole here, because the whole separation on one hole isn't vastly different from the rest of the course.
Yeah.
And so I think you're okay. So that's my only kind of caveat, I suppose, to saying I'd like to see more of them, is providing it's tempered with a correct, appropriate rest of the course.
Yeah, and that's basically what I was saying with my remark about Princess Peak. Just throwing, it's not even the right term, but Super Mario bloody racetracks. It's like you've taken something out of one course and put it into a course, and it just doesn't fit, right? Yeah, I don't know. I still don't really stand neither here nor there on the whole. It's more down to the course design itself. And what you were saying about entertainment value, I just think the entertainment value should come from the player's misfortune and not the misfortune that they've been given from the course itself, where it probably shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that. I mean, let's not beat around the bush, right? Christian played a poor first shot onto in an attempt to get onto the green, and then after the first missed shot from the edge of the fairway, after that one probably should have played something a little bit safer, and then she missed a putt that went OB coming back anyway, right? So there's more errors than just that whole design itself. Yeah. Although it did I do
just want to scroll back to Brett Carlisle's comment. It's just about 10 comments back there when we were talking about changing of rules, and he said they even changed the rule the day before the event to make it easier. 4 missed attempts to make the island, and you can proceed to the drop zone. In the Monday qualifier, there were scores of plus 24 on that hole. That just so that to me just screams terrible design, or people that shouldn't be in that event. I don't know who shot that, but it's obviously a pro tournament.
Why 4? It seems a little bit arbitrary, but why 4? But I don't know. Anyway, I think we'd like to see more of them in New Zealand. So if there's anybody designing their course for Nationals or whatever next year, then would love to see it. I think it's good fun. It's good fun. Right. Let's have a look at the events that are coming up this weekend. We've got 2 events. We've got Makaripi and the Seafarer. We're going to go to Makaripi first, up in Rotorua. That's going to be taking place this weekend. Starting off in MPO, Simon Feasey is the odds-on favourite here at 2.5. Ollie Webb in second at 5.9. Mark Dakiv, we're expecting to go well at 9.8. Josh Pratt at 12s. Luke Hempel at 12s with Jimmy Tufu as well. Morgan.
Yes.
Who's your money on?
Probably likely Mr. Feasey after his win at Paradise. One thing I'm just noting is Ollie Webb permanently moved to the North Island? We're seeing him at so many North Island tournaments at the moment.
Well, he used to live in Wellington, so
he did, but he's been in Wanaka for quite a long time. I just don't know if he's relocated.
Well, he's on PDGA. He's listed as Auckland, so perhaps he.
His brother lives in Auckland, so maybe he has moved back up there or moved up there. Interesting. Mr. Feasey though. Mr. Feasey.
Yeah. Okay. In FPO, first takes on 4th in the rankings as Michelle Simpson goes up against Michaela Kerr this weekend. Michelle's got the slight odds favourites there. In MP40, Anthony Rogers is up against a pretty competitive MP40 field. Mario Cernier can certainly do a job here, and Joe Seebeck is no slouch also. Mike Foley will be aiming to spoil their party in Rotorua. In MA1, Ty Engelke is the favourite up against Ryan Martin Gorn. Gary Jarvis playing out of division in MA1 in third favourite there at 14s. I don't think that's too bad odds, if I'm being brutally honest, but Ty might have the edge here. In MA40, it's going to be pretty close. Tim Marshall and Ryan Kiddo kind of going head to head, but Brett Carlisle is at 9s. Then a whole host of players: Levi, Owen, Roger, Eldon, and Quentin, all pretty evenly matched in the best division.
I think let's just call this one super friend of the show. Brett Carlisle's taking down this division this weekend.
Oh, I really hope so. We'll get on to the tipping. What needs to happen in the final stages shortly. In FA40, Kath Headley is favourite narrowly over Amy Whitmore as 7 takes on 9th in FA40. MA50, Chris Kingsnorth is the favourite against Sean Ashford, and Andy Brewster is 3rd favourite. In FA50, Debbie Mills will be aiming to get her. I think this could be a bit of a run of victories for Debbie Mills.
Well, back-to-back weekends after taking one down last weekend at the Queenstown Classic.
It will. I mean, and she won in the Vortica Paradise Plates also, and also won nationals in FA50 as well. After a 2nd place in the Tapuho Breeze in FA40, 2nd place at Moonshine in FA40, and a podium 3rd place at the Topol Classic. So she's had a pretty successful year of it so far. She'll be the favourite going into FA50 at odds of 2-1. In MA2, James Dean is slight favourite over Matthew Hang and Forrest Dunn, and down in MA3, Max Jobert is the odds-on favourite to take out the win. There. Down to what is a pretty stacked FA3 division, honestly. Yu Zhang, Lacey Ann Sims, and Kate Crossman are the favourites going into the weekend at Makaripi.
I'm going to call the outsider there, Libby, for the win this weekend. That's where all of your tipping money should be.
Libby Darich in FA3.
100%.
Excellent. There we go. You heard it there first. In Seafarer now, first takes on 2nd in Seafarer as Levi takes on Francis. And look at the odds difference. Levi is at 2-1. Francis at just under 8-1. Ethan Stout and Jack Maffey. Jack Maffey at 17s. I mean, he came pretty close. He came pretty close to pushing Levi, and he's a Dunedinite, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So like, there could be some value there. Elsewhere in the top 20, Daniel Hunter, Andrew Popham, and Jamie Hunter all go head to head as well.
Oh, Jin Cato hiding down in the bottom ranks there. That's some good money on some at very least a placing.
Oh, you reckon 10-1 to place? Yeah, I mean, played very well. Took out a podium position at the weekend. Yeah. In FPO, Alison Tweedy goes up against Nicola Stout, 2nd versus 5th here. Expecting Alison to take out the win, probably, at odds of 2.2. In MP40, Jonny Ferrari, who we had earlier on, is a slight outside bet of 3.1 to Tom McKay's 2.4. In MA1, Dwan Fisher, in a pretty even stacked field, is at 8.3. Bailey Gardner stepping out from the juniors in MA1 to do battle here. Norman Tudor and Dylan Dedman Nahui at 10s. In FA1, Rowan Simmons and Hannah Joint are pretty evenly matched, as is Jessica Vodiarts, and those three will do battle in FA1. Barry Van Beek is the favourite going into MA40. I mean, that's got to be pretty favoured, Morgan? I would have thought, looking at MA40, that looks pretty good for Barry.
Yeah, for sure. You got to look at Lance and Kelvin there too, right? Locals to the region where Barry's coming. He's the foreigner coming all the way from Invercargill.
Totally.
Totally.
Yeah. In FA40, Marie Cummings is the favourite here. At odds of 1.8 over Nina Duckles 5.1. Jessica Rover at 5.5s. In MA50, Mark Tebbett. Can he stop winning in MA50, or is he going to get another one this weekend?
You know what? I reckon it's going to be a tight one this weekend. And I'm not just picking the second place guy, but Wayne Brown's been playing pretty well this last 12 months. So I'd love to see him give him a push. And then you do have Andrew Falconer and Jeff Lewis right there as well.
Yeah, I mean, but when you look at it, Mark Tebbett's won his last 3 events.
Oh yeah. Hey, look, Tebbs has got my bet until he doesn't win. Right? I've said that for 14 years now. No, so.
And last year he beat Wayne Brown by 2 shots, and the rest of the field by then a lot more. So, I mean, you could argue that priced at 5.3, that's looking like pretty good value.
Yep, 100%.
It's obviously the size of the field that's.
Is that the same Andrew Falconer? Is that Christchurch Andrew Falconer? I just want to check that.
It is.
He's all over the place. See, you know what's happened here? He's let his son go wild into America, and now
he's like, I can go and play what I like. This is great.
Yeah, for sure. You do know that, right? I'm not trying to change the subject here, but you do know.
No.
Seb,
Sebastian has moved to.
Yeah, he's gone to the States.
Moved to America.
I was about to call him Seabass, which is our affectionate name for him in Thailand. Seb has moved to the States, or at least gone out there without a return ticket. So if you guys should all be keeping tabs on Seb and seeing how he's doing out in the States.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be keeping an eye on the tournaments he's playing. He's obviously pretty active on his Instagram. Yep. So yeah, have a look. He's due to play the Glass Blown Open at the end of April, and then the Star City Classic and the Beehive Classic, which are both Q Series, DGPT Q Series. So what they are. There's a qualifying series for the DGPT the following year. Right, the idea being that the regular pros that you see touring don't play in those events, although some of them do. And it's players who are looking to grab a tour card or grab a place on tour, so he's got some tournaments in the books. The Glass Blown Open in Emporia is the next one that he's on, and I mean, it's going to be it's a pretty stacked field. So yeah,
we'll keep an eye on Seb, and then we'll run back into the MA50s and going down the list.
Look, it's a pretty stacked division, that one. It'd be interesting. Mark Tebbett, I've got some thoughts to do, and we'll come on to the why in a minute. MA2, Connor Rabbage is the favourite here at 7.3. Although Connor Rance at 15s could also be worth a look. In FA2, Kate Pickerfley is at the favourite at 2.3 over Aria Paris at 3s, and Edmund Hilder at 4.2 is the favourite over Willie Jones in MA4.
Yep. So just, I was just going to say, just one point, Matt, while we're on this tournament, because we'd be remiss if we didn't bring it up, because I believe both you and I and Tom have all had messages about this, is the divisional tee pads, or where the guys and the girls and all the players are teeing off from. Interesting decision to.
Yeah, so for people who aren't aware, all of the FPO division, all of the female divisions, are playing off the B tees, as are MA4, but everyone else, so MA2, MA50, etc., are playing off the A tees,
except for MA4. Yeah,
except for MA4. So which is I think is interesting, because if you're someone like me, who is a MA40 player typically, but is someone who, after nationals, isn't really looking forward to playing too many tournaments where the holes are super long, right? And would actually much rather play some smaller tournaments, smaller distance tournaments. I mean, then I would, if I was playing in this event, I'd have to play MA4 in order to be able to do that, right? And be able to play the smaller tees. And I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone in MA4, but I'm not sure I would feel that that's quite right. I mean, I don't consider myself to be a very good disc golfer at all, right? But like, I'm not sure MA4 would be the right place for me to play. It would be the only 100%. Place that I could play if I wanted to play the short tees. So
it's an interesting one, right? Because we don't have a standardized set of rules as to what divisions have to play off what tees if they're available. Do you know what I mean? You know, we've got standardized now via the PDGA. If we offer MA2, we must offer FA2 division. You know,
that's right.
Exactly. So, but we don't have a standardized set of regulations saying that if this group's playing off this tee, then this group should be playing off this tee as well. Because for me, if FPO is playing off BTs, then I'm definitely playing MA50, MA2, so MA50 and MA2 probably off BTs as well, if FPO is off that.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the top players in FPO will beat probably MA4, right?
Oh,
so yeah. I think that there's I think that's interesting that's been chosen. I think it's something like just over 20% of the field is playing off the BTs. 80% of them are playing off the regular tees.
Yeah.
Is that something that you try and manage and balance out? Probably not. Actually, you probably look at it division by division and go, does this division warrant a different set of tee pads? Remembering that it is of course the job of a tournament director to decide to create an environment and an event which can, at the end of it, discern who the best disc golfer is for a given division. And the point of having alternative tees to the main tees, say, or let's call them B tees, is so that you can have greater score separation, because, and we talked about this before, it's quite easy for, as holes get harder and harder and harder, for holes to be very easy to bogey but very hard to get a par or a birdie on, right? Yeah. And then that doesn't create the score separation. Also, the feeling you get when you hit the birdie, even though par's just a number, is far different to the feeling you get if you're going around taking double bogeys all the day, even if the result is the same within your division because everyone else is doing the same thing, right? Yeah. No one wants to go there and come home and go, well, I won my division with a score of plus 97. I mean, it's not a very enjoyable thing. So I would argue that that's something which potentially might otherwise get looked at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Craig said there's a lot of holes that don't have BTs. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the absolute wrong comment there. I've slid. He was saying that the course will be the same, basically, but with higher pars. I can't see the comment anymore.
Potentially. Yeah. And you could argue that actually if MA2 played off the BTs as well as MA4, then I think that gives a different kind of perspective. If there's anyone in MA2 who wants to throw far and challenge themselves, then they can go and play MA1, right? Because the difference between middle MA1 and high MA2, I suspect, won't be all that too dissimilar.
Yeah. Talk to us about this though, Matt. Right, because you've got a bit better insight into this than I do. Course ratings and player ratings, though, right? So, like, if there's a bunch of MA2 guys playing in the same course as the MPO, does that not make it harder for MPOs to raise their rating during the round?
Okay, so ratings are a zero-sum game, so that the in theory, at least, the sum of the ratings going in is equal to the sum of the ratings coming out. What that means is if there's lots of people bringing low ratings,
700-800 rating rounds, rating.
Yeah. Then no ratings.
Yeah. So
into the tournament. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Irrelevant of what they shoot in the tournament.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Then it comes out. What you do find, however, is that if there are a lot of players who shoot particularly badly, then it makes it a bit easier for the higher level players to get higher ratings, right? Because the bulk of people anchor it down. The difference in hole score, the difference of points per stroke, I should say, is dependent almost entirely on length of the course, right? And some other kind of black box PDGA maths. But yeah, I'm not sure it will have too much of an effect, honestly, because quite honestly, with the exception of Levi, and arguably Francis, the difference in ratings points isn't massive.
Yeah, and I do see a comment here from Marie saying, personally, I'm a fan of BTs or higher par, at least in my grade. I appreciate feeling like I've achieved as opposed to being 40 over. It's quite deflating and doesn't make you strive for better. So yeah, and that's what Matt's saying. It does make you feel better throughout your rounds and your tournament. But I think the question more at hand is just why isn't MA2, I suppose, on BTs? Really?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, that looks to be the thing.
Sorry.
That looks to be the thing to do, because it's going to come to it. Like there's going to be tournaments in the near future. I suspect Masterson actually at Disconnection is going to do this. Where MA40 will play off the longer tees, and I shall be looking at the other divisions and going, actually, which division do I want to play in, because I don't want to play the long tees, and so I expect that this will happen elsewhere, and it's going to happen for things. But look, let's have a look at how it all pans out, shall we? This weekend at Seafair, it's going to be a bit of a ding dong battle. If we can get the tipping up on the screen, specifically the leaderboard, you can see here, Morgan, I've got such a ridiculous job to do. So Steve Lawson leads the way. He's got over 1 million coins, 1,093,000 coins, which is, as I said before, over 1 million more than Tom Baker, who's in third place, right?
So are you willing, because there's no second place prize, other than pride, are you willing just to throw it at the wall and just
go? Well, not even pride. I mean, what pride is there in going, yeah, I limped into second place. I because I could come in second place pretty easily now. I could just put all my money on Levi, and then Levi would likely win, but he's only at odds of like 2.1. So I double my money, which would probably put me far enough ahead. I'd be on 800,000 ish coins, but I wouldn't win. Right. So if I'm going to win, I really need to go big.
You got to get down into that MA2 division, bro, and just like go with an outsider.
I've got it. No, there's a few bets actually over the weekend.
I know a couple of people in there you should maybe not be betting on.
So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Obviously, Steve and I have approached this very, very differently. Steve has put on 94 bets over the whole season, with a return of 329%. I've put just 29 bets on over the whole season. So he's put 3 times as many bets as I have. And he's got nearly 3 times as much coin. So maybe there is something in it. I don't know. But Tom Baker in third and Josh Pratt in fourth currently. Morgan, where are you?
I deleted all my money on Stefano last week. You can't scroll that far.
I'm still scrolling. What's interesting? We've had 78 people enter this season, the first opening season of Sweet Chain Tipping. Hopefully, you've all found it enjoyable. At least those people who are still going and haven't resigned Steve Lawson to the win. But really, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Chat, what should I do to catch Steve? I mean, how can I do it? A lot's going to depend on because if he bets on Levi, if he puts his $1 million on Levi, right, then and Levi wins, he's going to be he's going to have 2 million coins, and that means that I've got to try and find five or
All
6 to 1. I've got to find values of 5 or 6
Can you go to Seafarer, please, Tom, and scroll down to MA1 and just let me see the odds on Connor Bishop.
Connor Bishop in MA1,
please.
Yeah, so I'm bringing it up, but
23.
Just on that, I'm gonna be waiting for Steve to place his bets.
And I have a question. Can everyone hear you right now, or
yes,
is it
they
just
can.
me and Matt?
Yeah, everyone can hear me.
Okay,
so regardless what Steve bets, I'm gonna look at his result that it's going to make, and I don't care who it is, but I have to go all in on some wild card and hope that I pull off.
Well, here you go. I'm giving you that wild card right now.
Okay.
Connor Bishop.
But
that might not be enough.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I need to see the odds. What are the odds?
So Connor's at 20. Connor's at 23 to 1. So if Tom goes all in with his paltry 86,000, right? At 23 to 1, he'll come away with just over 2 million coin, right? Which might be enough, but probably won't be enough if Steve lumps it all.
Maybe Steve won't bet this week.
Maybe he won't. I think that would be that wouldn't be the correct course of action, honestly. But who knows? Who knows? He might be sat there going, "I've got this wrapped up." So I don't.
Connor, I just want to put a little context to this here. Connor came second at the Paradise Plates there in MA1, which is one of his best outings in quite a while, and up against a really solid field. He was up against it at the weekend just been, and I wouldn't even take that into account. I would like to think that he gets to go back to his old neck of the woods, because he's in Queenstown these days, and go and feel at home and do the goddamn thing and take the win. Let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, because he came in 15th in MA1, and played some all right golf, right? So just under 900 rated golf was okay, but quite a bit off the leaders. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting. Brett's made a good point. Steve might be waiting to see what you do, Tom. The tipping will close. Yeah.
Time expired.
Both of these events are played on Saturday and Sunday, so both events will have the tipping close on Saturday morning, and so we'll see. I love the fact that the guy with $0 is giving the guy with heaps advice. There we are, Morgan.
Hey, Burge, I'm going to send you a screenshot of what I did this afternoon. Anyway, all right. Look, we love a good real punt as well.
So I don't know where I'm gonna go yet. This is something I'm still considering. I'm still kind of putting this up in the air, because at the weekend I put 50 grand on Stefano to place at odds of nearly 6. Yep. I put 35 grand on Mikey to win and got $1 million back. I got 100,000 back. Sorry, and then I had 36k on Stu to win.
Ooh, yep.
And I had 25k on Allison to win.
Oh, so close.
And if both of and I was 2 shots off both of those. Yep. If both of those had come in, then I'd be sat on about 600,000 now, which would have given me a little bit more. But we'll see. Mikey saying that Jack, Maffey, and Gin to place. That's going to be interesting. Let's just have a quick reminder of those odds. So Jack Maffey to place 4.1, Gin to place 10.2. Yeah, that's real interesting. It's one of about 4 or 5 different bets that I'm looking at going, oh, do you know what? That might be the play. That might be the play. Obviously, there's a few in Morgan's got his pick in MA1. Yes, Barry in MA40 at odds of 4 to 1 looks pretty good. Mark Tebbett at 5.3. I'm not even sure if that'll be enough, honestly, but we'll have to see. And then so we'll just have to see. Anyway, what's going to happen? Well, here's what's going to happen. The first event of the final event, of the Sweet Chain season 1 is this weekend, at Macquarie and Seafarer. After this weekend has finished, season 2 will begin, and season 2 will start off. Everybody will go back to 1,000 coins. So you'll start off your 1,000. You'll go back to 0 with 1,000 coins. And our first event will be the Winds of Warren, which is a one-dayer in Christchurch down in Warren Park on the 6th of April.
Is that that Jake Meikle's tournament?
That's right. Yep. And then hitting the links the weekend after, which is Ryan Kiddo's Buckley, will be the next event, and then the Brook Park Brave will be after that, and that will run until the end of June. So Brook Park Brave, Bramford Bash, Generation Open, Dystopia, Charters Bay Charge, all of those events will get included. Probably a little bit of a quieter season, given that there's it's coming to winter and probably fewer events, but that will begin. Your coins that you earned in this season will be preserved in a overall leaderboard of all time.
Okay.
So you can. So if you've got a couple of coins to scrape together, Morgan, then lump them on the weekend. Remember, there's several ways you can earn coin. You can get the at the beginning of the season, everybody gets 1,000, and then twice throughout the season, at the beginning of each of the months. So for season 2, it will be beginning of May and then beginning of June. Everybody gets a stipend of 500 coins. So you get 2,000 coins given to you at the start. And then on top of that, you can get a daily coin drop by logging into the website, which will give you a random number of coins. And then you get a week or 5-day bonus if you log in 5 days in a row. So you can get this. What Steve put on, he's put 1,000 on Tiaki Gillies to win at Seafarer. Yeah, look, those kind of bets, chump change, honestly, this point of the season. We're calling it. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Season 1, which I thoroughly enjoyed, is coming to an end. Season 2, I'd encourage everybody to get involved and play again a lot. I know there's a lot of people who are kind of waiting for season 2, going, oh, this one's over, I'm not going to I won't bother now, but we'll kick into it in season 2. So hopefully,
I've just put my money where my mouth is. I've yet again put my whole 10 coins on Connor Bishop.
Excellent. You'll get some more tomorrow, and so yeah, you'll better put them on as well. So finally, right, let's play some disc golf. All
right,
let's see what we got. Did you pick last week, or did I pick?
I think you did, and we like to finish the show by trying to edge our way out of, looking silly, really. So let's go.
Well, that often fail, but.
What's behind me? Let's go with a. Oh, do we have zone? We don't have zone, do we?
You got a zone.
Do we have zone on this? Do we have zone?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sweet. Okay.
Nowhere near it. Okay, so it's less stable, it's faster, and it's not Discraft. Okay, so let's try a Latitude Saint.
So we know what it's not.
Yeah. Exactly. That's not much. It's not much better. Okay, so it's one of those 2.5 fades. That's annoying. So that means if it's 2.5, it's probably something silly like an MVP, because they tend to do that.
Yeah. So let's just go.
It's quite a bit faster.
Let's go Octane.
Octane. Okay, that sounds like not a bad guess.
Oh, way.
Oh, well, we got the MVP right. We did guess the MVP right, but it's a fade of 2.5. It's less speed than an Octane. Who knows their MVPs and their silly flight numbers?
My best mate on the disc golf course, Mr. Adam Rhymes, has bagged MVP for the entire time I know him, and the only disc I can think of is a freaking Octane. Catalyst from Calvin Cummings.
Catalyst, 13 speed again. Yeah, how you can give something a glide 5.5? Just make it, even put 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
I mean, You're being silly now.
We're gonna run with the anyway. We're gonna run with the chat
Photon.
here and go Photon. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go Photon. We're gonna.
We're definitely leading into the chat on this one.
Oh
God,
there it
damn,
is.
We're good.
Wow.
Yes.
Fantastic. The butler. The butler delivering the goods. This week on Distal. So well
Shout
done
out
to them. Right, let's have a quick look at power rankings. In the ladies division, Michelle Simpson climbs up. Oh, just loading for me. Rather, Alison Tweedy drops 1 spot to second. Hayley Flintoff climbs 3 to third. Victoria Speller drops 1 to 8th, and Debbie Mills drops 1 to 15th. A lot of the top players in action this weekend, 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th, all playing the Seafarer or Makaroopi this weekend. Over to the men's division. Mikey Yu is up 2 spots to 7th, and Jonny Ferrari is up 5 spots to 18th. Hemi Tiafitu up 13 spots to 21st. Other big movers, Corey Gray up 93 spots to 142, and Andrew Faulkner up 75 spots to position 100.
Do you remember me mentioning Corey Gray's name? It was a few episodes ago now. I remember it might have even been Flight Park. And he's one of those guys that doesn't have the PDGA rating, and he's just sneaking in the background, and he can shoot. He can shoot 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 downs, you know. He's sneaky good. Plays every single day.
Yeah, well, there we are. So it's gonna be pretty tight in both events coming up this weekend. Morgan, have you got any plans for this weekend? Have a relaxing one, is it?
I'm working, bro. I think I'm on like
working.
I'm including the disc golf tournament last weekend in this, but I think I'm on a 5-week stretch of work without a proper day off. So it's been a little bit full on. But no, man, I've got a bowls tournament that I'm running in about 3 weeks, and then we're obviously getting ready for the Generation Open. So in my spare time, other than doing a podcast with yourself, that's what I'm working on in the evenings.
So when is the first generation duathlon coming along, where you play disc golf and bowls in the same weekend and you compete against people in both events?
Ironically, just before the show started, I was breaking some cards online, and the guys were talking about the company we use is Blunt Collections as our card collecting company, and we're talking about a golf tournament down here in Arrowtown and Millbrook, and then mixing that up with some bowls. So maybe we could bring that into the disc golf realm.
I would totally love that. That would be amazing. But it would have to be, you play around a disc golf, and then you compete against the same people with the scores, and work out the way of doing ends and all that. And yeah, I would love that.
Okay, I'm here for that. And I do. Sorry, Matt. I'm just going to jump back in and just go. Yeah, Generation Open is something that just in the last couple of days has sort of decided we're going to make that. It's not going to stay at one venue every year. We're going to move that around, and it's basically a wee bit of a celebration of just disc golf, making it cheap for everyone to come and get amongst and just have a good weekend or a good day, if that's all you can make it there for. But it's going to move location every year, and I think we're going to see a different winner every single year. So probably a local legend I put online yesterday, someone that shoots hot at their course, and yeah, I'm quite excited for this event.
Fantastic. Well, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, do all the good stuff. And if you want to support us even further, then you can go to patreon.com/sweetchainlive and get involved over there. Very best of luck, Morgan, to you and your 5-week stint with no day off. Very best of luck to everybody competing at Seafarer and Makaroopi this weekend. Very best of luck to me up against Steve Lawson to try and knock him off top spot in the tipping, and Tom with his outside bet. Okay. But wherever you're playing disc golf, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week.